Absolute geezers. Hope you're all very, very well. But before we start all of the niceties, it's that time again.
I've missed that music.
I've missed that music too. How are we both doing, boys? How are we doing?
All good, mate. Yeah, all good.
I just drifted off to sleep with that music there, mate. I was like, how long's the intro? It was never that long, was it?
Mate, it's the size that matters. Welcome to everybody who is joining us. Thank you very much for coming back to listen to us rattle on about football. It does feel like it's been forever. We've been on summer break, essentially, I think. What would you say, guys?
Well, you're on a constant break.
We went on a brief hiatus, didn't we? Because, I think all social media stopped for a week and we took it to the extreme and stopped for 3 months.
Pretty much, mate. So, I think we're back, mate. We're back. It's good to be back. So,
you see, the thing is, though, Dan, as well, England normally get knocked out second round or quarter final, so the summer lasted a bit longer as well, didn't it? So this is getting stupid.
In fact, actually, I wanted to. I mean, tonight's show is literally just us having a good old football chat. People, get your questions in below. We will talk about anything you want to within reason. And the main thing, I think, the main discussion point is what a summer. What a summer. What an absolute summer. I mean, Vorney, you were very, very lucky in the sense that you experienced, other than going away to watch in Italy, I think. You were there for all of it, weren't you? Every step of the way.
Yeah.
How did you get on?
What can you say? It was just bonkers, wasn't it? I mean, I suppose the 3 group games, we started reasonably slow, but we got the job done, didn't we? It was no thrills or frills or anything like that, but we got the job done, and then sort of like the fun started from probably the 75th minute in the Germany game, and then we never looked back from that point, did we?
Unbelievable. Best summer I've got to be honest of my life for football. Guys in the chat, if it depends on what nation you are. I mean, if you're Scottish fans, let us know. Obviously it didn't go the way I think you kind of hoped, other than winning that final against us 0-0. I'm joking. But no, and also Wales fans, you did well getting out of that group. What did you think? How did you rate your summer there? I mean, for England, it's the worst thing in the world, because for me, and I'm probably going to get told off a little bit here, but we're just like Liverpool fans in the sense that Liverpool, my God, they go on and on and on and on and on. And boy, that second that we were in the final, I did not shut up. Everyone at work just stopped talking to me because I couldn't stop going on about it. It was just delirious. It was a feeling I never, ever expected in my lifetime to feel England in a major final. It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, Dan, I think, you're talking about, we're keeping on about it. I think any side, if they get to a final, would keep on about it. I don't think it wouldn't just be us, would it? Well, I've never seen us in a final, so yeah, I was never going to shut up. And I haven't done since, even though we lost, really. But yeah, it was still great to get to a final. Certainly one of the bucket list things for me to do.
I mean, we're saying we lost on penalties. I think there's a difference between the two. There's losing a football match, and then there's losing on a lottery. And we won. I wish we lost on a lottery, didn't we?
I think you're right. I think if you're a Welsh or Scottish persuasion, they'll still say you didn't win the trophy. So I
deleted so many people. I think so many people off social media. The second we lost, I was like, I'm not having it. I can't read it. I'm not ready for it. I mean, as I said, Vorney, you were there, and we've got some bits and pieces from you being there. The first one, fantastic. This is. Probably going to get a copyright for that because we're listening to Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond sat there going, "No, not having that." But what was the atmosphere like?
That was my video, mate. I'm not going to do you for copyright.
You better not, mate. I know where
you've got my permission.
But what was it like in the stadium? Because there's a couple of things I do want to talk about. I want to talk about the positive side. I want to talk about the negative side. But for you being in the stadium, witnessing this, fans being allowed back in the ground, finally, there was an atmosphere there. And do you know what? For me personally, I don't know about you, Coiny, but it made so much of a difference. It made it so much more enjoyable watching football with fans there interacting. How was it, Vorney?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably as good as you see there. It's as good as it was probably coming across on the TV. You know, it was brilliant. Just, I suppose, a bit bizarre after the last 18 months with everything's been going on, where you've been told to socially distance and keep out the way of people. Well, from sort of the Germany game on, and that wasn't really possible. 3 group games. The atmosphere, I suppose, of those 3 games was sort of okay, but at the end of the day, you look at the stadium and it's virtually empty with 20,000 in there. But there's still some atmosphere. It's still good to be back in there and watching the games. But yeah, from the Germany game onwards, it was just another level, wasn't it? And it was probably quite bizarrely as good. Well, it's better than I've ever seen Wembley.
Really,
I think in terms of. In the past, a lot of people have sort of talked about Wembley, and Wembley can't generate a decent atmosphere. No, that one's gone straight out the window. I mean, the 60-odd games, 70 England games I've been to before then, I could probably count on sort of 1 or 2 fingers, probably, the atmospheres that were good. Whereas in that tournament, you can go, well, the Germany game, Denmark game. Okay, the Italy game probably started off, the atmosphere was really good. We score after a couple of minutes and the place is bouncing. It probably got a bit more tense after that, and it slowed up a little bit. But the Denmark and Germany games, they'll be as good as anything you'll ever experience.
Mate, I'll show your reaction to the game. But this was me when we just scored the second goal. What a mess.
Your back garden,
eh?
Was that in your back garden?
No, it was at the Peacock, mate. I looked a right twat as well. I tell you why. I booked 2 tables for all the boys to come and watch it, and only 2 people turned up. So I was like, oh.
I thought you were going to say it was just you there for a second.
It was, yeah. The woman came up to me. She was like, "Where's the rest of them?" I was like, "Yeah, about that." Oh, I'm really sorry.
Where's a Wealdstone Raider when you need him? You got no fans.
Yeah, do you know who I am? Sunday Social. I demand respect.
Distance into the extreme.
I mean, do you know what? I'm gutted. Coiney's got a video, but I don't think we're allowed to show it. I wish we could, because that's brilliant. But have a look at Vorney. This is absolutely brilliant. You're a thug. You're a thug. You're nothing but a thug. No, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. The feeling when we scored that second goal was something I never thought I was going to experience. Especially with Germany, it was incredible, wasn't it?
I've still got the scar on my leg to show. That was actually that was the second goal.
I'm going to duck out a second because Mr. Coyne sent me something. I'm going to duck out. You carry on. I'll be back in a second. The people need to see this. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, that was Kane. He scored the second goal. So the thing
still showing now.
Yeah. Still got it. Still got the scabs. Only sort of starting to come off.
Thanks to Harry Kane.
It's a month. That's a month later, but quite bizarrely, my mate Gary was with Gary Lomas. There, his mate from Croydon. Who go to England games with. Why is he filming me? That's what I couldn't work out.
Yeah, put your phone away and enjoy the moment.
Just enjoy the moment. Put the phone away. Yeah, I couldn't really quite work out why he was filming. I sort of looked across. I mean, sometimes these things happen when you score goals, and that guy that actually was hugging me there, he was about 3 rows in front. How he's ended up next to me, I've no idea. But when you score a goal like that, you sort of play musical chairs, don't you? You'll sort of move and drift around, and you ended up, meeting people that you never realised you knew almost.
Me and Vaughan celebrated like that. This was Coiney's effort. Do you know what it is? It's the little look at the camera when he's like.
By the way, Dan, that wasn't from the Germany game. That was after the Denmark game. So that look that you see in my face when I've got the biggest smile ever is just pure delight, Nate, and something to do with probably about 12 beers by that point as well.
I didn't realise you were a keyboard warrior there, Coiney.
Neither did I, mate.
Completely
just after that night. Never played a keyboard before.
There you go. Couldn't believe it.
Just goes to show what a few beers can do and the talent that comes out, isn't it? When you've had a couple of beers.
Something came out. It wasn't talent.
but I mean, like getting onto it. I mean, let's first and foremost. I mean, those boys right there. They did an absolutely unbelievable job. Absolutely unbelievable job. None of us. I mean, look, we sat here on the show and said, if we get to the semis, that'd be amazing. None of us truly expected, I think, to get at the start of the tournament to get where we did. For me, just the passion that in the last 3 years this team has brought to the world, well, to the nation is just it's unreal, isn't it? It's incredible.
And you know what, as well, how much credit has to go to Gareth Southgate for what he's done. Because 5 years ago, when we lost to Iceland, people were falling out of love with the England football team, weren't they?
Yeah.
As a nation, we had no confidence that we could go to major tournaments and do anything. And in a very short space of time, he's taken us to that next level straight away, getting us to the semi-final, and then he's taken us onto another level, getting us to a final. And you know what? I'm not saying it will be the World Cup because I've got some reservations about Qatar and the heat and all of that. But Germany in 2024, why can't we go and get to the final again? And why can't we go and win it this time in Germany? There's no reason why we couldn't. And you know, talking to Germany as well, I will say this. Social media before the Germany game and during the Germany game, up until the point that we took the lead, was disgraceful. Some of the comments towards Gareth Southgate up to that match and during that match, honestly, some of the people writing that crap should hang their heads in shame, honestly.
I was one of them. I was going ballistic at a couple of decisions. I deleted him off the social media though, so if it's not there, it never really happens. But no, I mean, get your comments in below. How do you actually rate the job that Southgate did? For me, it's 10 out of 10. I mean, I know you'd say winning it would be 10 out of 10, but to take the team where they were. I mean, Christ Almighty, that fiasco from Hodgson, and then having Allardyce for the one game, and then all of that coming out and the smear campaign there. He's done an absolute.
The whole thing was a shambles, wasn't it? After Allardyce, and he gave the England football team its dignity back first and foremost, didn't he? He's a fantastic role model, a fantastic manager, and a thoroughly decent man.
No, I agree. I completely agree with that. I mean, what was the feeling for him in the stadium, Vaughan?
Well, it's quite bizarre actually. Really, I suppose at the end of the day, we've always realised he's a decent manager. I mean, I jacked all of this in after the Iceland game. I mean, for 48 hours, I'd retired from international football, and then of course, kind of
retired from international duty.
The idea of going to Budapest then for a 3-nighter to do Slovakia away and going somewhere I haven't been to. Well, all of a sudden I was out of retirement, wasn't I? So but for 48 hours, I sort of kicked it into touch. But I mean, I suppose when Southgate came in after Allardyce, it was almost a bit like, I suppose he's quite comfortable. It's a bit like going home and sitting on an old sort of comfortable leather sofa, isn't it? It's a bit no frills, but it probably does a job. And I think that generally I think people will probably of that opinion. I think gradually since then, obviously he's won people round. There was still a lot of rattle within the tournament, certainly early doors. I mean, probably even the Scotland game. I kind of look at that. I'm not really quite sure. Tactically, we got that one right. I suppose we didn't lose the game, and that was what Gareth Southgate said. We didn't lose the game. We went on to the Czech Republic game, and we won that 1-0. So I suppose we won the group. We got through with 7 points. That was fine. But arguably, you would probably say that probably if either team in that Scotland game were going to win it, then it was probably Scotland and not us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There were things that possibly didn't quite get right, but then. That's football. You're not going to get it 100% sort of smack on every time. I saw Kev O'Neill actually, who comes on here. So I don't know whether Kev is listening tonight or not. But I was having a chat to him up at Middlesbrough. We came out after the second friendly, and really the two friendlies. I'm not quite sure what we probably. Whether we learned too much out of those, really, to be quite honest, because I suppose the other side that played the first game against Croatia, I suppose, was a different side. I suppose one of the good points that would certainly come out of the first game was we played Saka. And I think he did first game. Well, he was the man of the match in that game. Did enough to kind of make you think, actually, to be quite honest, should this guy be starting or somewhere quite close to the first team, and we all know the answer to that now, don't we? Yeah. So I think at the time it's probably easy to be critical at that point and sort of say, well, I'm not sure what we've learned, whether we've learned this, whether we've learned that. I suppose now you can sit here and say, well, actually, I suppose there were things that we saw in those friendlies that probably make a bit more sense that probably didn't so at the time.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
It's interesting that you mentioned Saka there, because for me, I had two men of the tournament for England, and their sort of fates or tournament sort of intertwined at the end in my eyes. I thought Saka was like the breakthrough star, and if there was a young player of the tournament, he'd get it for me. And my player of the tournament was Raheem. I thought Raheem Sterling was absolutely magnificent all the way through. The actual game himself, he was quiet, and you two know exactly what I'm going to say here.
Penalty.
I wish he'd had a penalty. I really, really wish he'd stepped up and taken a penalty. And I wish that, the one thing that I think Southgate got wrong was the penalty takers and the order of the penalty takers. I know he's come out at the end and he's put all the blame on himself, as you'd expect him to do, because that's the sort of bloke he is. He takes responsibility. I'm just not sure whether in that situation, if certain players, and I've mentioned Sterling a few times to you guys and to others, because I don't think he was going to take, never mind one of the first 5, I don't think he was going to take one of the first 10. I think there were all the other players were going to go ahead of him. Sorry?
There's a bizarre one, that, because you'd think confidence would go through the roof, wouldn't you?
And you'd think Jordan Henderson would take one. So why has Henderson gone off? And if Sterling doesn't fancy it, why is Sterling not gone off then? There's just a few questions around that. But for me, and let's be honest, I was pissed off when we lost. And
oh my God, were you? Your Facebook, Christ Almighty!
Just because I thought it was, I really thought it was our time. And for me, the best, the icing on the cake for me would have been Raheem Sterling steps up, takes the 5th penalty, wins the Euros for England in his back garden, Wembley. It would have just been amazing. And for me to have Saka taking the 5th penalty as a 19-year-old kid, if he's going to take a penalty, he might be the best penalty taker in training. He might really fancy it. Don't have a 19-year-old taking the 5th. Put him second and push them back. So have Kane. You're always going to put your best penalty taker up first. Kane steps up, always scores. Then put Saka in, because the second's not that much of a pressure penalty.
Yeah, there's no pressure. Well, so there's no pressure, but there's less pressure, isn't there, on the second one?
Less pressure, yeah. And then you can have Maguire, Sancho, and I'd have put Rashford 5th. And that's, everything. It's easy for us to sit here and talk about it. We're not the ones who are stepping up in front of 60,000 people, are we? But in hindsight, as guys who are sitting here on a Sunday and talking about football, that's what I'd have done. It was just such a shame. And for me, that perfect ending was just, well, for everyone, it was ruined, wasn't it? It was
do you know what though? I mean, actually, do you know what? I'll put this to the people watching as well. And just big shout out to Jake Topless. He says, bring on 2022 #Free Lions. Completely agree, Jake. Completely agree, mate. Good to hear from you, bud. I'll put this to everyone because you've sort of alluded to it there, Coyne. Who was your player for England? Who was England's player of the tournament? Because I'm going to go the other way with mine. I'm going to go with Jordan Pickford. I think Jordan Pickford had a lot of question marks on his name going into the tournament, didn't he?
By the way, we didn't pick him.
No, we picked Henderson.
We thought he'd be injured. In our thing in March, we picked Nick Pope, who ended up being injured, didn't he? I think Fraser Forster. And we didn't pick Ramsdale. We're having Ramsdale nowhere near it.
I was the one that said him.
Oh, and Dean Henderson would have been the other one.
Yeah. But I go Pickford.
We didn't pick Pickford because he was injured at the time, wasn't he? Yeah. I think we were picking the players for the squads. No, it wasn't the Euro. It was for the
World Cup qualifiers. Yeah. No, but I think he was absolutely incredible. I think Pickford. Christ, all that was. I think Pickford the whole tournament. He had a couple of games where his kicking was a bit dicey, but I mean, the penalty shootout. Name me another penalty shootout where a keeper saves the penalties he does and is on the losing team. It's very rare it happens, isn't it? Yeah. And you know what? When he saved that penalty from Jorginho, because I'll be honest, as soon as Jorginho stepped up, I was like, here we go. That's it now. It's done. Yeah. And there's that video you see of Pickford telling himself, it's okay. Come on. And I'm like, the save was phenomenal, wasn't it? It was absolutely phenomenal. So for me, for my pick, the wife will probably be banging on the ceiling because she absolutely loves Jack Grealish now. Jack Grealish has turned her into a football fan. Haven't the heart to tell her that the lads at non-league, and if any of them are listening, I'm sorry to say this, don't look anything like Jack Grealish. But for me, Pickford all the way for me.
There you go.
Well, Bonnie, who would be yours? You've been at the games. Who were there?
Yeah, that was a conversation killer then, wasn't it, Daniel? We're a bit silent there. I
was waiting for you, Gordy, as always.
Oh, is that what it was?
Waiting for you to chime in.
Yeah, I always like to chirp in, don't I? But my man of the tournament, I don't know. It's a hard one, a hard one to pick because I think the picture you put up of the team there before Dan, I think everyone's just immensely proud of each and every one of them. They all gave their all. There wasn't any player that I think played any point during the games of the tournament, whether they're only on for a bit or kind of that let us down. Everyone played really well. I suppose Sterling is an obvious choice. But I thought the two lads who were in midfield, I thought, stood out for me. Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. So it would be a hard pick to try and pick between those two. I thought they were absolutely immense. I thought Maguire, when he came back in for the Czech Republic game, I thought was immense.
Incredible.
By the way, Tyrone Mings before the two games before.
Well, Tyrone Mings in the friendlies. In the friendlies. Was terrified of him playing after watching him in the friendlies. I was like, oh my good God, this is the guy who's going to be looking after Harry Maguire's spot. But he did well.
And Mings, with all credit to him, I thought in the first game he was absolutely superb against Croatia. Against Scotland, okay, credit to Scotland. I thought they played well. We probably didn't play quite so well, but Mings was probably our man of the match. I thought Mings had a good game. And probably he was when Maguire sort of come back in, he's always going to get dropped, isn't he? What are you doing there, Dan? You're pulling the face.
It just nearly come through my nose. I took a big gobful. Sorry, carry on. Sorry,
what an amateur! What an amateur!
At least you didn't have something fall off the wall behind you, mate.
Yeah, there we go.
In fact, with these behind me, I'm just asking for trouble now, aren't I? Guarantee that ghost strikes again.
The ghost of Paul Coyne's
I'll laugh if those shirts fall off there. That'd be brilliant.
But I mean, was there a player? And again, in the comments, was there a player that changed your opinion this tournament? Because For me, it was Jordan Henderson. I was very vocal online when he took the ball off Calvert-Lewin in the friendly and missed the penalty. I was absolutely livid to the point where I was saying he should never, ever play again for England. I was fuming. And then, obviously, passion and all that. But then when he come on, every game he calmed the play down. He's a very big character. He got the lads going. I was quite impressed with him. He changed my opinion.
I don't know about... Sorry, Bonnie, go on.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I don't know if there's any particular players you'd change the opinion. I mean, I guess something like Saka for me would probably be a prime example, because I think when we were talking about the World Cup games in March, and when we were picking our squad for that, Saka was one that Coyne, I think, mentioned, and we all sort of said, yeah, the guy's a talent, absolutely unbelievable talent, but is this probably a little bit too soon for him? And I think, when we were talking about the Euros, we were sort of saying probably a little bit too soon for the Euros. Maybe for the World Cup qualifiers, maybe in September or beyond that, and maybe for the World Cup next year if we're lucky enough to qualify. But I mean, to be quite honest, now that the guy is in, isn't he? Yeah. The guy now is an essential part of the first team. Whether he starts every game, of course, I don't know. We've got a plethora of players that we can change formations and swap and change around. But he's definitely in there, isn't he?
You're so right.
One of my favourite images of the whole tournament is Saka riding that unicorn.
In the pool.
when he's going into the pool, that massive big smile on his face. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Big shout out to Robin Hartley. Good to see you, Rob. Good. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well. Nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you. I think you're right there. There is so many little bits and pieces like that, wasn't there? I think. I think that the one thing that I will say about Southgate, other than the final, I think every substitution that tournament he got spot on. I don't think there was ever a sub I sat there and thought he's bollocks that one up a little bit. He got everything spot on. The Germany game for me was brilliant. Grealish comes on and just he ran the show, didn't he? Ran the show.
I think I don't know whether I tweeted this or put it on Facebook or what, but after the Germany game, I said something like it was just a flawless managerial performance from him.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
He stuck to his guns, and he made some big decisions for that game as well, didn't he? But every single one of them came off for him, and he had to be patient, and we had to be patient as a fan base as well, because I think it was about the 75th minute that we actually scored. Yeah. And it was almost like a chess game before that, wasn't it? No one wanted to make a mistake because it could cost them the match, and then it paid off for us, and then some, didn't it?
Well, you bang on, because I think really when you look at the original 11, the lineup, it looked very defensive, didn't it? It looked very defensive. It looked like we were playing with sort of like 7 outfield defenders almost and 3 offensive players. So you did sort of wonder, but it did nullified the German attack. It blunted that, and then, like I say, you change things sort of later on in the game with sort of Grealish when he came on. I mean, just going back down to what you were saying about players as well, that kind of and I'm just thinking back to that game as well. Luke Shaw, the game he had, he was absolutely immense. I wouldn't say you'd change your opinion on players. I don't think that's really quite the right thing to say, but there's players that I think in the tournament that have definitely played themselves into contention. And when we've talked about, just mentioned 2 names here, Luke Shaw would be one, Jack Grealish would be another. We know that Jack Grealish, all about the talent of him and how good he is. But now he's played himself into contention for the first team and a first team place as a Saka. So I don't know whether there's players where the opinions have changed as such, but there's certainly players that I think through the tournament have done themselves no harm. But I mean, that goes for most of them. I don't think there was one player that let us down. There wasn't any, was it? Everybody came in and
you got his name wrong there, mate. You got his name wrong there. It's actually Shawberto Carlos, I think, is his name.
Shawberto Carlos.
So we'll let you off with that one.
There were some fantastic stories to come out of the Euros as well, wasn't it? In terms of players who have maybe come back from a bit of adversity. I mean, Luke Shaw, after he had that absolute horror injury about 5 years ago, He probably had 2 or 3 years where he wasn't even getting in the Man United team.
Oh, don't get me started.
Was there? And for him to come back and to play so well and to be the man that scores in the final was...
Yeah, by the way, Jose Mourinho, when that goal goes in, is probably sat there going, "Oh, Jake Topless says, Harry Kane's goal against Germany was the moment of the tournament for me. Crazy celebration.
I've got a story about this, by the way.
Coiney, come in with that one, mate. Come in with that one.
Well, the goal goes in, and I'm round one of my mates' houses, and I had this horrible, sneaky suspicion that Harry Kane was offside. And knowing what we know about VAR and how cruel it can be, everyone's jumped up and gone mad, and I've gone up, and as I'm jumping up, I'm thinking, he's offside, he's offside. So I've put my arm out like that, and I've said, lads, just wait a second. I think he's offside here. And I've just completely killed the mood. And I don't think it even went to VAR in the end, did it? Well, they certainly didn't show the replay. The second goal, the celebrations were cut short because of me and being far too cautious.
I couldn't tell you whether
VAR. Next time a goal goes in, just bloody celebrate.
I couldn't tell you whether it went to VAR or not, mate. I was on my back end. Don't know.
Not for the first time.
Did it go to VAR?
Not for the first time. Robin Hartley says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how petrified were you when Muller went through? Do you know something?
11.
the moment of the tournament for me, other than England, is the footage of the German fans when they think he's scored, and they go, "Oh no!" Thank God, that was just, oh Christ! All those years of hurt, I was so chuffed with that, and yeah, I think I echo Vorney. I was like 50, probably 50 out of 10. I was just gone. I was terrified. But
as soon as he picks the ball up, you just kind of look and think, "Oh, who was it? Oh no, it's Muller." He's oh no, 1-1.
Coiney, you plonker.
Who said that?
Mr. Topless again, Mr. Topless. I think that's it, and I think the defining moments that you watched back, and I've watched. I was quite sad actually in the fact that every game we played, I watched the next day as well. Just wanted to rewatch it and see if I missed anything.
Even the final.
No.
Me neither.
No, I couldn't bring myself to. Do you know what I couldn't bring myself to watch it for? 2 reasons, and we've had a chat about this, so I'll be interested to hear people's opinions. Now, I know the letter of the law states that if you pull a player back, it's a yellow card. It is what it is. I get that. I'm okay with that. But what irritates me is it's just blatant cheating, and the way he's done it as well, Chiellini. And I must say, having looked back through the tournament, what a tournament that bloke had, by the way. What a tournament that bloke had. But I'm not going to ever be able to get that image out of my head of him just pull it, and I just think, you absolute. I'm not going to say it because it's before 9 o'clock. And then the other bit, of course, is the Jorginho tackle on Grealish. It's reckless. It's out of control, and it's a red card. And if he'd have scored that winning penalty, Christ Almighty, I'd have driven to Chelsea myself. I think. I
agree about the tackle, but I'd be a hypocrite if I agreed about the pullback from Chiellini. Because as a manager, if I'm if my team's in the final of a competition and there's a player one-on-one and a defender's coming round, I'm going to be screaming at my player, just stop him. No matter what you do, take a red card for the team, you stop him because we're lifting that trophy if you do. Yeah. And you know what? I can say, hand on heart, if there's an opposition player one-on-one with my goalkeeper and my defender comes from nowhere and he takes the guy out, whether he takes the ball or not, as long as, you don't want to see anyone injured, I'm not condoning that. But as long as he stops him scoring, I'm applauding that player. Yeah. Luis Suarez in the World Cup, if you're Uruguayan and he tips that shot over the bar with his hand, the keeper saves the penalty, you're applauding Luis Suarez.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's the ruthless nature of football, isn't it?
You don't really want to turn around and say that cheats prosper either, do you?
And that's the thing. And I'll go on to what Jake's about to say here. I know it's not a red card. I want people to know. I know it wasn't. I know it's not a red card, but I remember there was the footage of Verratti a few years ago, and a player's gone past him, and he's hanging onto his shorts and being dragged along the floor, and I'm just like, That's not football. That is cheat. It's blatant cheating. That to me is as bad as it gets. You're not. There's just the etiquette of the game goes out of the window for me. And like Jake says here, makes a good point. It's not a goal scoring opportunity, mate. It's a cynical foul. Thought it was a yellow, but I wanted a red at the time. Of course, we all did. And do you know what? I think I hate it. But at the same time, players like Chiellini, they win your tournaments with their experience and knowing what to do at the right time. And he's saved his team a goal there, I think, because Saka, he's not catching Saka.
No. How relaxed was he, by the way, for the Spain shootout in the semi-final? Did you see him?
He laughed his head off, wasn't he?
Mate, he absolutely outfoxed Alba there. Alba was terrified after that.
He didn't want to be there, did he? No, Alba didn't want to be interacting with him at all.
Guys, it started. It started.
What?
Dave Roberts is back in the room. I didn't realise you were back. I'm in the pub, so I'll leave Coiney alone. Congratulations getting back in the pub, mate. I hope you have one for us.
Come on from the pub, Dave.
Come on from the pub. Yeah, imagine. Hey, no, we'd have music in the background. It'd be copyrighted.
Dave needs to come on and tell us about his trip to Baku, because he was one of the 200 or 300 Welsh fans that got out to Baku for the first two games.
Oh, so really?
He needs to come on and tell us all about that. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I think. In fact, I'd love to hear his thoughts on the Denmark game. Actually, if he's got a couple of seconds, that was a good game, wasn't it, for the Welsh? In fact, going on to Denmark quickly, wanted to just obviously say, with regards to what we witnessed with with Eriksen. Something I never, ever, ever have witnessed in my life. You watch, of course, you get those sickening YouTube videos that people manage to get them and chuck them on. But to watch it at a live game, I'll never forget. The wife was up here putting her face on, ready to go out on the lash. I was downstairs watching it, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. I just saw him go down, and do you know what? This sounds really horrible. The way I looked at it, I thought the lad had thrown the ball in, it hit him in the face, and I thought he'd gone down. So at the initial time, I'm there going, "Oh, get up, just get up, come on, Eriksen." And then you see who was the official? English bloke. He was English lad, and he was it?
Taylor.
It was Anthony Taylor. And you see his face, you see the horror in his face, and then, excuse me, when they're ripping his shirt and they're doing the compression and then they're doing the defib, I was in absolute tears watching that. I was crying like a baby. There
was quite early on after he'd gone down, there was a horrible image that they broadcast which showed him on the floor but with his eyes open.
Yeah,
it was just it was haunting. It was just horrible even thinking about it. And I know the BBC came in for a lot of stick of actually showing the coverage as well, which I understand. I know it was Danish TV channels that showed it, but surely you think whoever's doing the broadcast for the BBC would say, "Okay, Gary Lineker, you've got 30 seconds here, Gary. You're going to have to carry this," and either just completely go to a blank screen or just show the team's badges or something for 30 seconds until Lineker and whoever's in the studio compose themselves enough to actually carry the coverage. And you have to say, like, Gary Lineker, I thought was magnificent.
Yeah.
As he always is. I mean, I think Alex Scott went a bit over the top myself with everything she said. But I thought Gary Lineker and the other pundits were absolutely magnificent.
She said about, I had to call my mum and tell her I love her, and I'm like, hang on, whoa. I don't know where you're going with that, and please don't feel like I'm not being sound rude. Nothing against Alex Scott, I think she's a good pundit, but what I'm saying is, I just like hearing that. I'm like, what are you on about? This isn't about you. This isn't about that. This is about a player. And you know what? I'm gonna sound quite awful saying this now. When it's a player that you don't know, you watch and you go, oh, Jesus Christ, that's not good. The fact it was Christian Eriksen, I've seen him play so much, and I was like, oh my God,
superstar.
Oh my God, couldn't believe it. Rydog Productions, how you doing, mate? Says, yo boys. He was mad, horrified, and then asks, what do you guys think about Rashford missing the penalty? It's a good question.
You can take that one down.
No, I was okay. Look, at the end of the day, it's one of them things. I felt for him in the sense. Look at the sun in the blood. That's brilliant. That is. I felt for Rashford because if it's a quarter of an inch to the right, that is a great penalty because he sent the keeper the wrong way. It's going in. But what Rashford does, and he does it for United, and he's missed a couple of times for United, is he does that stuttering bloody run up. I don't think that helps anyone when they're taking a penalty. Look at Maguire. Bang! Without a doubt, probably one of the best penalties you'll ever see, actually, because it's in that court. I mean, breaks the camera. Do you know what I mean? Come on, breaks the camera. But yeah, I wasn't. In fact, I didn't want to. I hate doing this because I hate giving them the airtime. I hate speaking about these arseholes. But the saddening thing for me, and I'll come into Vorney with this because Vorney was there, is the aftermath. The aftermath of us losing this final, and the truly devastating thing for me. And we've got a question here. I'm not sure how we answer this. Did your opinion? I think that's a silly question. I'm not really sure what you want me to say about that, right, Dog? But I kind of feel like the sad thing was players knowing they were going to get the backlash that they were going to get from it, and it's like, what do you do? What do you do? I can confirm that Rydog's been blocked from the chat there because I kind of feel like it was a silly question to ask. But what were your thoughts from the ground there, Vorney?
Well, on the penalties or
on the aftermath of it? On the aftermath.
I've got to be honest. I mean, I was doing a few little bits on sort of Radio Shropshire and that sort of before and after the games, and actually I got caught out the morning after because I didn't realise there'd been any.
He's
sort
gone,
of
Robin. He's gone.
Yeah, well, obviously the racism and that was sort of the aftermath of that, really, where you just kind of go, oh God, here we go once again. So that wasn't good. I mean, I think we were all feeling flat enough the morning after as it was, weren't we? You know, without all of that nonsense as well to sort of come out. And I'm sure we'll talk about all the other bits and pieces of the more negative stuff at Wembley possibly a little bit later as well. But there was the atmosphere was just flat. I don't even know whether I want to talk about it really.
It's
to be quite honest, because
it is. And do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what? That's the first time we've ever had a comment that is sort of not the best comment in the world. I don't know if it was meant in that. If it wasn't, then fair enough. But
I'm a bit troubled by that comment, Dan.
The question.
I'm really troubled by that.
I didn't see it, so I don't know. I'm only on my phone, so I didn't see it. So
if we're going to be putting this out on YouTube afterwards, I think we should just remove.
Oh, it's gone, mate.
Remove the 5 seconds before that. And if anyone's been offended by what was on the screen there, we do apologise. That's actually quite disturbing.
It is, but sadly, as we all know, it's out there. There are people that
that's what we're dealing with, unfortunately.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That's what we're dealing with. But the thing from that is the abuse that these lads have had has been just out of this world, and it seems every time we come on lately, racism's there, and I just the worst thing about this is the people out there who were actually found to have been the racists. One was a teacher. One's a teacher. These people they're just absolutely unbelievable.
Academy players from a well-known football club.
Yeah. No, it was. You're completely right. Yeah. What goes through the mind? Don't get me wrong. Danielle, my wife, she had to tell me off several times for stuff that I was shouting, but none of it was anything like that. It was anger towards, the antics of Chiellini, the antics of the red card for me. But never at once when that penalty's missed did I turn around and think racism. Never. Actually,
it's just.
Steve says, don't get... Yeah, completely right, Steve. Do you know what, actually, this is a learning curve for us, guys, because that's probably the first dodgy comment we've ever had on the show, so it's something we'll learn from, and we'll know to get rid quicker next time. Robin Hartley, I hate those penalties. Fun fact, Paul Pogba once took longer to do a tippy-toe run-up than Usain Bolt took to run his... Really? Actually, I wouldn't actually disagree with that. He does take an absolute age. Sorry, I was about to burp then. I was about to burp. But getting away from the racism side of it, I don't want to give that too much time. But I do want to talk about the aftermath. Now, Vaughnie, you were there on the day of the final day. You were there for most of it, mate. Let's have. But the semi-final and the final, it was when the atmosphere sort of started to change a little bit. Am I right? Yeah, with the people turning up.
I would say probably just the final, Dan, to be quite honest.
Yeah, so I mean, from
the
semi-final to the final,
yeah. I mean, I think there's a few pictures I've certainly sort of shown you, and pictures that I put on Twitter and that really, and I think certainly between the group games and the Germany game, there's 20-odd thousand in for the first three group games. And the pictures that you see around the stadium, it looks empty. The Germany game was 40,000. That was the capacity. And you kind of looked around and I thought there's absolutely not a cat and owl's chance that there is only 40,000 people in here. There's a lot more. The red seats that you could see around for the first three games, you can hardly see anything. Now, okay, give it the people are standing up. Most people were standing up and not sat down. So, okay, then the seats aren't going to be quite as visual. But I thought at that point, no, there's definitely more than 40,000. The Denmark game again was supposed to be 60,000, and you're kind of looking around and thinking, this is full. And then I think probably what you see happening during the final and sort of like the news reports that were coming out sort of before the game, and then what you see in the aftermath of people breaking in and everything, then you start to realize that actually that was happening from about the Germany game on. So that had actually been happening for a few games, I believe, where people had sort of been sort of jibbing in. So but it only really become sort of more sort of visually out there, I suppose, when for the final.
Nice one, Doug. Nice to see you back, mate. Some fantastic content released over the Euros there. Keep up the good work, Doug. Fantastic stuff. Vaughnie, I completely agree. And it's interesting to hear your take on it, because I mean, the day of the final, you said the atmosphere was just unreal, wasn't it? It was just it went completely the wrong way. And Jake Topless has got a question. Says, did you see anyone breaking in, Vaughnie?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I wouldn't say it went completely the wrong way, Dan. But it was certainly from quite early in the afternoon. There was a lot of people around, as you'd expect, and there's a lot of excitement, and there was a lot of people sort of having a few beers, and people were really getting into that party mood. But that was sort of like midday, 1 o'clock, and you're thinking, well, to be quite honest, it's another 7 or 8 hours before kickoff. These people are going to be absolutely trolleyed, aren't they, by the time you kind of get there? So just pace yourselves a little bit. But I mean, actually, sort of kind of go back, really. I suppose you kind of I was up in Baker Street Station about 1:30. The Globe pub, which is across the road, Corny probably knows it. Actually, across the road from Baker Street. That place was absolutely bouncing. The band were there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was brilliant. But when I got off the train, there was a lot of people already going up to Wembley, and you thought, well, that's strange. I've never seen that before, and I mean a lot of people going up with beer and everything, and I'll sort of come on to that really in a minute, because when went to meet the guys at the pub at the back end of Marylebone that we'd been at, I sort of said to them, I said, a bit strange, there's a lot of people going up there, so there's obviously people going to be congregating on Wembley Way, and I said to them, I said, I don't think we want to be hanging around here, because this is a final. None of us want to get locked out, So, everyone just texted around and said, look, okay, I'm not saying you need to get up there at 4 o'clock, but certainly around about 5 o'clock, we're going to be looking to be landing at Wembley and sort of getting ourselves at Wembley Way. And even if it means I'm in the ground 2.5 hours before kickoff, well, so be it. I ain't missing this. But when we got to Wembley Park Station, the place was absolutely rammed, because what you got a lot of people that had ended up on Wembley Way celebrating. They're trying to get back into Wembley Park to head back into central London, and then you've got people like us who are then getting off to go to the game. So the place was just absolute pandemonium. That was the bit that I didn't really start enjoying things sort of like before the game. There was probably about an hour. I wouldn't say I got completely unnerved by it, and it takes a lot, certainly in football, for me to get a bit unnerved. But for that hour, I didn't really particularly enjoy it. Anyway, we sort of fought our way up Wembley Way. There was a lot of people sort of up there that had been drinking. There was bottles, there was cans, there was broken bottles. So as you're sort of trudging up, not only are you trying to watch where you're stepping, you're not treading on a broken bottle and cutting your foot open. But then trying to keep my hands sort of like on my phone because the tickets are on the phone. I don't want them getting robbed. I don't get my wallet getting robbed. It was sort of real one of those moments. You really got to keep your wits about you. And there was 4 of us walking up there. We got split into 2. So there was me and guy Rob Redding who I go to the England games with, and there was Adam Coatham and Gary Lomas who were behind us. Dave Clark who I'd been sort of going with, and Chris Page. They were just off Wembley Way, and they were saying, "Oh, come and meet us for a beer," because I hadn't gone down with them. And I said, "You know what? I'm just going straight in." And we sort of pushed our sort of way in. And those gates where you sort of go at the bottom of the stairs, that's where you did your COVID check, and that was where your phone got activated with your ticket on it. That was the bit where you kind of like you've got your phone in your hand, and that was like. Yeah, that wasn't great. Anyway, you get through that, and I thought, well, we're okay now. But actually, to be quite honest, we weren't, because there was a lot of people that had sort of broken through those cordons or got through, and they were actually sort of walking around on the forecourt, sort of round by the Bobby Moore statue. So Rob's gone to the toilet. I've queued up for a program, and it was on the outside of the stadium. You've got like merchandise stores or left luggage. I can't remember. It was one of the two, and they've got like a roller shutter door and a counter. And there's a couple of people in there. And the next thing, about 15 or 20 lads have jumped the counter, so they've jumped through. So they shut the roller shutter door down. But of course, they only go at a certain speed because they're designed to do that so people don't get trapped. So of course, more people without tickets were panicking. More people are jumping through until you got to a point where the barrier sort of come down and there's people's legs sort of sticking out, which is what the stewards and police then are then pulling people back out. That was, I don't know, that must be 5:30, 5:45. So that spooked me a bit. It was like, no, I'm getting in now. I'm definitely going in. Make sure the ticket's activated. I'm going in, and we got in, and there was stories going around that by 6 o'clock there was a couple of times they'd actually shut the stadium down in terms of letting people in with tickets. Obviously that sort of righted itself after that because people were still getting back in. But there are a few things I've read on Facebook that were genuine fans that actually couldn't get in.
That's horrendous. It's horrendous, and that ruins everything. And I'm going on before we continue with your story there, Vorney, because this kind of goes into the next question that I wanted to put to everybody watching. Before I do, thank you. Absolutely love covering the Euros. Appreciate it, Dan. Doug, you did a fantastic job, mate. You really did. I enjoyed watching a lot of your videos, a lot of your content. I may not always comment, but I do watch. And then we said. The Fan of Fan podcast, great work with the guys there. Jake is one of them. England fans are the reason we won't host another competitive competition in a long time. Some England fans trying to storm Wembley doesn't help us with that either. Now, what do you think? Your opinion on that, Warney? Because obviously you go everywhere with England. So, do you think that is going to hinder us slightly, or do you think it will be overlooked?
It certainly doesn't do us. It certainly doesn't do us any favors. I mean, you see the images of people breaking in, running up the steps, running through the turnstiles, overwhelming the stewards, people fighting in the stadium. Doesn't look good, and it doesn't, does it? I mean, let's be honest. You see all of that, and you kind of like, and then you've got obviously all the nonsense that then comes out with the racism and what afterwards. So, in all fairness, we haven't done ourselves any favors. And look, at the best of times, I mean, we're English, we support England, but we haven't got many other supporters sort of outside of England, have we? Most other nations tend to hate us. So, you kind of, well, they do. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
It's a sad truth, isn't it?
So yeah, it is. And you look at that, and you're just thinking, all the good work that people do, and then you see that. Now, whether it will actually hinder us in terms of getting a World Cup or not, I'm a bit drawn on that, because I think at the end of the day, let's be honest, FIFA, what floats their boat is money, isn't it? So it's you've only got to look at Qatar. You've only got to look at Qatar.
Well, yeah, exactly. What's
wrong with the Qatar? What's wrong with the Qatar World Cup? It's
You look at the migrant workers earning less than £1 an hour that they've got there. What have FIFA done to stop that? You look at all the human rights, everything else that sort of goes with that, and you look at what their view on, gay, lesbian, and the LGBT group out there. You look at what they're saying about that. You think, you see some of the comments that are made by the Qataris, and you wonder, you're thinking, well, how on earth have you got a World Cup? Now, we all know that it is money.
By the way,
that's how they've got it, isn't it? So
where the last World Cup was as well.
Yeah, and exactly, and that was money as well. And I think at the end of the day, you've got to, if you cast your mind back, I think to 2010 when those two World Cups were awarded to Russia and then to Qatar, you actually saw Abramovich beforehand laughing. So it was almost like they knew. It was like they knew what was going to happen. And okay, without wanting some Novichok through my door, I'll probably stop at that point. I think, but
go on, mate.
I think at the end of the day, the view probably is this: that money talks. Now, I think in terms of the amount of money that the FA, the government, or whatever step up or pump into this to try and win a World Cup, that's what they've got to decide. I think probably what it ends up doing is if we don't get it, then it probably gives them a convenient excuse to turn around and say, well, the reason we haven't got it is because of what you saw during the final in 2021 at the final and blah, 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 blah. So it probably gives them a convenient excuse to sort of back out. Whether we will win or lose a World Cup based on that purely alone, I think I'm a bit sceptical on that.
Well, we've got a new comment from a new chap, Stu Mack. Great to have you, Stu. It says, Maguire shipped 51 EPL goals for Leicester, 80 million. Rice exposed his centre-backs for 2 seasons prior to Souček. I can't say his name, Souček, isn't it? A rival. Region of 80 to 100 million. Ben White, 50 million for a centre-back who can't header. Oof. And then goes on to say, by the way, I was Googling this on the slide because I thought, am I going to say something that's going to get me in trouble? But I Googled it, we're okay. Is Anglophile bias a thing? When I see something file, I'm terrified. He then goes on to say, hate's a bit harsh. We only dislike the idiots, louts, and moronic media like Iverdale, Pagatash, Pierce, Tuz. Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. I mean, I think we all know.
How did you just pronounce Mark Pugach's name there?
I did say Pugash.
I thought you said something else. Sorry.
I did say something else. But you called me out, as always. Do you know, just quickly getting away from me there. I tell you who was just on fire in the tournament and doing his usual hit job was Jermaine Jenas. Oh, God.
You don't like Jermaine, do you?
He dropped, mate. He can piss off back to the one show for all I care. He's absolutely useless. Stu Matt then goes and says the UK is no better. Illegal wars in Iraq, etc. Britain is on its pedestal once again. It's always about money. Deep. I'd agree with some of that though.
Can we just go back? By the way, I just want to have my say on the what went on at Wembley at the final.
Of course, mate.
We've referred to these pricks as England fans. Sorry, I couldn't think of any other word. We've referred to we're before 9 o'clock. I do apologise for that. We've referred to these morons as England fans. They're not England fans. We've got an England fan with us tonight, a proper England fan, Vorney, and we're all England fans as well. Not as much as this guy. These guys are hooligans. There is no other word for them. They are hooligans and they are criminals. And let's not call them England fans because they're not. They don't do anything positive for our national team. They've brought disgrace on our national team and disgrace on our game. Just been left on my own there.
I was just letting you go for your rant. I was just letting you go for your rant, Coiny.
No, I think I summed it up with the first word that I used there, mate, and I don't regret that. But let's not call them England fans. Let's call them the hooligans because that's what they are. They don't deserve anything better. They don't. There was a phrase that I saw on Twitter the morning after. It said, "We don't deserve nice things." Well, 99% of England fans do deserve nice things. They do deserve a successful team that did us proud, which they did. That well, it wasn't even 1%. That horrible little group that decided to bring shame on our country that night. They don't deserve to be anywhere near a football stadium.
Can I ask you a question, Vorney, actually? Because you go to all these games, and I know it's an impossible thing to recognise everyone that goes to a bloody game. But these idiots that were turning up for the games, are they the sort that you don't normally see at the England games? Were they just idiots that managed to get tickets somehow and go and cause pandemonium? Or are they people you think, yeah, I've recognised that sort before?
Well, they hadn't got tickets down, had they? That was the point. I suppose they were breaking in, weren't they? But no, not really, because I think, at the end of the day, the allocation that I think we got for the semi-final, final, I think was about 9,000 official tickets. So that would be 9,000 official tickets. Now, those 9,000 are travel club members, so they're people that belong to the England Supporters Travel Club, basically. So they've had all the necessary police checks and all the other checks and that go with it, basically. So the FA know that to sell the 9,000 tickets to those fans, that they are genuine supporters that are going. Now, I suppose UEFA, in terms of their sale, well, those tickets could go to anybody, basically. There's no checks or anything that is basically done. So as long as you've got, I suppose, your passport number and everything else, and you can pay for the ticket, then there's not a lot more sort of goes into that, really. So that, I suppose, that's the one thing I probably would say, is that you probably, of the 60,000 that they are, I don't know how many Italy got, was it 7,000 or 8,000 supporters they'd got in the stadium? So you're saying so officially 60,000, 52,000, you've got 9,000.
He's had enough. He's had enough. Whilst he's away, the Fan of Fad podcast has just asked, going on record. I can't even bloody read. Going to record our thoughts predicting the Premier League table after this. What's your thoughts on where Man United will finish? Oh God. Do you know what? It's a tough one, because they've signed Sancho, they've signed Varane, They're obviously looking like they may sign a midfielder. I think the work's to be done still with the squad. I still think there are a few players short of where they need to be. I think if they get top three, I think I'd be happy with that. I know that sounds really silly because they've spent 90 million they spent a combined 110 million on Sancho and Varane, but they're not quite there yet. And if City go and get the business we think they're going to do, which is Kane and Grealish, you're not touching them, are you? You're not touching them.
I'll just expand on that then. The question for you, Dan: who's your top four next season?
Next season, my top four, City to win it. I think City will win it. And then I think it's between United, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and I don't know. Will Leicester be up there again? I'm not sure. They've bottled it the last couple of years, haven't they, to get that top four? But I think that's your top four there. I'd be very surprised. I don't think Spurs will get there. Arsenal have got no European football this season, but 50 million.
I expect Arsenal to be better. I think they'll be better. But they weren't great for the last few years, was they? So what's better? Probably top six for them.
Yeah, I think you're right. Here he is back. I wonder if I push the button when he comes in, it'll go back to him going, and that's where. And I wonder if that'll happen. Let's see.
Hopefully, he's ready for it.
I think he's ready. Have we got a thumbs up, Vorney? And he did as well.
Yeah, so the travel club, so we get 9,000 tickets. I have absolutely no idea. I thought you'd cut me off. I was like, what the hell's just going on? I don't know. It just dropped out, just fell out, didn't it? I don't know where I went.
Brilliant.
I was actually thinking then. I thought, I wonder what I said. Did I say something to get cut off? I was like, oh no, I've been binned. Room 101.
We could never bin you, Vorney. Before we go back onto yours, Vorney, a couple of questions to run through. Robin Hartley, I'm so glad they finally signed Sancho. I was getting bored of that story. So was I, mate. So was I. It's the worst kept secret in the world, wasn't it? It was always going to happen. I'm not sure if Sancho's going to hit the ground running. It's a pretty big, hefty price tag on his shoulders. He does look like he's got the confidence to do it. But my only worry with him is he did kind of sulk a little bit, and his form dipped when he didn't get the move last year. So I do worry about that. And then the Fan of Fan podcast, and I'll ask this to you guys, has said, is Grealish worth 100 million? Now, I thought, Coiny, I thought you were going to go with the line, no man's worth 100 million, but
I was going to say that.
I phrased it the other way, didn't I? I said in today's market.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got, how much did Neymar go for a few years back?
200 million.
200 million. And for me, he's not even in the top 5 players in the world.
I've got to be honest, I don't think Neymar's that good. I've said that before.
No.
I think he's all right, but he certainly ain't worth that sort of money, is he?
No. It's stupid money, isn't it? But look, I mean, City are going to do something that they've never done before. They never spent over 60 million, have they? They've always done quite good business and not really had to what Dale Skit says. I'd say Grealish haircut alone is worth 50 million. Well, I'm trying it myself here. I'm trying to grow the length, but it's just not. Oh my god, it looks like a toupee now.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, I'll pose this question to you all, actually, and to the people watching. I just want a simple yes or no.
Gillette
is the best your man can get.
I thought that was what you were going to say. Well, what do you do? Is it sandpaper or is it
No.
Gillette? It's Gillette, yeah.
It's not alopecia, is it?
Not yet.
Do you think if City get Kane and Grealish, do you think that they will win the Champions League and run away with the English League?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
because history tells us that they find it difficult to do both. So I'd maybe say they'd do one or the other. I'm not necessarily saying that they'd win the Premier League and not win the Champions League. It may well be the other way around. But just going on history alone, there's been a couple of times over the last few years where I've said that they're going to do the quadruple and they haven't done it. No. So I'd be surprised if they did both. And that's just from, I mean, let's be honest, it's such a difficult task, and that's not me, trying to be offensive towards Man City or anything. They're an absolutely amazing football team, one of the best of all time. But history tells us, they are one of the best of all time. But history tells us that it's virtually impossible to do that. Mm. How many teams have done it in the past? There's not that many, is there? There's not that many. There was a fantastic team that did it in '99. Dan, I'm sure you remember. But that it's never been repeated since, has it? In English football.
No, I think the my God, can you hear that humming? My new neighbour, honestly, I don't know what he's doing next door. But
I don't want to know what your neighbour's doing. Move on. Go back to the football.
So the next one, and this one, in fact, we'll just go to Robin Hartley's second question, and we'll go back to his first one. Kane and Grealish going to City will definitely benefit England with them playing week in, week out with Foden and Sterling. I mean, how do you fit them into the same team, though? How do you fit all of them in the same team? I don't think you can. I mean, because you've got to drop De Bruyne in there as well. I don't know if you can do it. I'm going to ask this question.
It's a similar issue to England, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's kind of like those.
Without a doubt. I'm going to ask this question to you two lads, and then I've got a question for the group, and this will be for you two as well. So the first one, obviously, Robin Hartley saying, "Where is Shrewsbury finishing this season?" I'm so glad that he's asked that because this chair is creaking like my bed. If you get what I'm saying, I need to change it, so I'll be back in a second.
He's changing the chair.
Yeah, sounds that way, isn't it? Robin substitutions, is that what we're doing? He's maybe it wasn't humming next door. Maybe it was his his chair creaking. There we go. He's back. Yeah. Where do I think we're going to finish this season? I don't know. Maybe a third up from the bottom. Maybe I think maybe sort of below halfway. I don't know. I've got to be honest. I don't know what Coyne thinks, but I mean, I think some of the players that we've signed, I think we've made some great signings. I don't think there's anybody that we brought in. I've kind of thought, I think we've made some good signings. I think we're probably just a little bit light on numbers. I think.
I'm ready.
I'd probably say so. I think probably
45 minutes today. I'm ready.
Starting 11, 12, 13, we're probably okay. I think beyond that, we're probably a bit light. I think if we get injuries, then I think we could be in for a tough season. But I suppose what I would say on that is a lot of other clubs are probably a little bit light on numbers as well. So we're probably not the only ones. There's some clubs that are starting to, in our division, that are starting to chuck some stupid money around. Wigan being one of them. But we're never going to be able to compete with those. I wouldn't even say with those sort of teams. Wigan haven't got massive support anyway, but they've always had a bit of money to throw around since Dave Whelan was there. But we're not.
Broke his leg in the cup final.
Yeah, Dave Whelan. Yeah,
Dave Whelan. He never mentions it, does he?
No, it's right. So
I was about to say, that's one I know. Then I was about to say, yes, I do. I know that. Yes.
Yeah. He never mentions it though, does he?
No, he's the limelight, does Dave?
Just as England fans, we never mentioned that we won the World Cup in '66 either, do we? You know what I mean?
We never
remember an individual.
You'd struggle with that. In fact, actually,
not that breaking your legs an achievement, by the way. Sorry.
It was actually the anniversary of 1966 yesterday. Did you know? I don't know. You knew. But anyway, moving on from that, because it's not like English fans to harp on about winning the World Cup. I suppose that's all I've got to say about it, really, to be honest. I think it could be we could have a bit of a tough season, but like I said, I think the players we've signed, I think, are some decent players. What's that say? Is he proud?
Robin Hartley says, was waiting for Paul to mention Whelan's broken leg. He mentions it more than Dave.
Exactly. Dave never mentions it, does he?
What about you, Coyne? What about you? Your thoughts for the season coming up? And then I've got a question for the
I think we'll lose in the playoff semis.
What?
Yeah. You can shoot me down in 12 months' time when it doesn't happen.
I'm clipping this, mate. I'm clipping.
Coyne, can you just hold up to the screen what you're drinking?
He's on absinthe. I mean, bold, Mr. Coyne.
Half a pint of ambition, half a pint of optimism. No. Reason. There are some reasons behind what I'm saying here, and the main one is Steve Cottrell. I think finally, we've probably for the first time in 10 years since we had Graham Turner, we've got an experienced manager in who just has so much knowledge of the game, has a really clear game plan of what he wants to play, a really clear recruitment plan, and a really clear idea of how he wants the entire club to be run. I mean, when in the history of Shrewsbury Town would a manager have been able to dictate what kit manufacturer that the entire club has? The guys at the top have so much trust in this guy, and I just think it would be such a Shrewsbury Town thing to do, to come off a season where we faced so much adversity last year with what happened to Steve Cottrell, to go and do something extraordinary this year. And also, look, I get we've got an absolutely threadbare squad at the moment, but we're only in August. It's the 1st of August. We've got 30 days for him to bring in more players. And to be honest, yes, we might start off poorly. That's fine, nothing's won or decided until May. I could see him bringing in maybe another 2 or 3 really top quality signings between now and the end of the window. Guys of the quality of Pennington, Elliot Bennett, Ryan Bowman, people like that who he's brought in. It's clear that he's on about bringing in quality instead of quantity now, and he's not just it's not just throw something at the wall and hope it sticks like the recruitment seemed to be at the start of last season. That there's this clear defined plan. So if everything clicks into place, why not? Yeah. We've done it before, and we've done it from probably a worse position than we were, because how many years? 4 years ago now, I thought we were going to do a Leicester City, coming off the back where we should have been relegated that season, 2017. We should have been relegated, Hurst's biggest achievement for me was actually keeping us up, not getting us third the following season.
10 points adrift, weren't they?
I'm not sure how many exactly it was, but keeping us up was something special in itself. I remember sitting here in April 2017, just having no idea whether we were going, staying up or going down. And then to go on and do what he did the following year was, it was close to being a miracle. If we'd gone up, it would have been a miracle. But I see no reason. 2 or 3 players in before the end of the window, top quality, with his experience and his knowledge and his drive as well. I mean, he's so intense, isn't he?
Yeah.
The manager, I'd love to play for him. I think it'd be brilliant. I see no reason why top 6, maybe sneak in the playoffs. Last game of the season, and I think actually getting to the final would be quite a big ask, but and certainly winning at Wembley would be a big ask, wouldn't it? If we don't do that. Why not? Why not? Sitting in August, let's be optimistic.
I mean, it's certainly, at the end of the day, what you're saying there, Paul. Yeah, we couldn't disagree with, I suppose, any of that really. Like I said, I think the players we brought in, I think the manager's great. I think like you said, we're light on numbers at the moment, but who's to say? I mean, if you think back to that season when we got to the playoffs, his name's just gone completely out of my head. The guy we got from Norwich, it's now at Everton.
Ben Godfrey.
We didn't bring Ben Godfrey in until.
I'm ready, lads. I'm going to get warmed up for the season. I'm ready for it. I can get in. I can do a job at centre back. I'm ready.
I thought that was your Zimmer frame, Dan.
I was going to say.
It may as well be.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I have absolutely no words for that whatsoever.
Jealousy's a terrible thing. No, I'm joking, mate.
It's definitely not jealousy.
Question for you. Yeah. Question for you, Vaughan, for you, Courtney, and also for everybody watching. This season, it's finally coming. We're going to have a season, touch wood, uninterrupted by the C word. What I want to know, because we've got stuff that we're going to be doing this season, which we'll go through in a sec. I want to know to the people in the comments, because a lot of you are ground hoppers. Vaughan, you are definitely the ground hopper. Where are you looking forward to going to the most this season? Is there somewhere that you're thinking, I'm really excited, I can't wait to get there. Can't wait to get to that stage. Where are you looking forward to?
I don't know. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, actually, to be quite honest. I'm not planning too far ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not. Because we were, and the reason this conversation sort of came up was we were talking about the qualifiers in September. We've got Hungary and Poland away. I'd love to go to them. We've got Hungary away, we've got Andorra at home, and then Poland away. Whoa, what a week that would be.
Yeah.
But you can't plan anything because you don't know whether we're going to be going or not. So I've got to be honest. My plans football-wise, I've got to be honest, Dan, at the moment, I'm going week to week. I've got no real set agenda to be looking or doing anything. And I mean, okay, this weekend I've just been to Nairn County in the Highland League. So, but I didn't decide to do that until in a week. I kind of looked at it and just thought, no, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I think as the opportunities sort of come up, then go for it, sort of thing. But yeah, I've got nothing really. I mean, look, okay, Tanner got Burton away next week. Go to that. Morecambe the week after. Hopefully, we'll sort of get there. But yeah, beyond that, I'm not sort of looking too far ahead, mate. If I'm being brutally honest.
What about you, Coiney?
This will sound really soppy. I can't wait to get back to the meadow.
Yeah. No, I get it, mate. I get it.
Next Saturday, seeing our stadium full, well, as close to full as we can get it. I think there'll be a brilliant crowd there next season. Just being back in our usual seats as well, seeing the usual faces, getting back to the proper match routine. I can't wait to get back home. I really, really can't. Beyond that, the away game closest to my birthday is actually the one that I've been wanting to do for many, many years. Sheffield Wednesday. I think I've only got that and Wimbledon to do, and I've done the entire list of the League One clubs this season. So really, really looking forward to going to Sheffield Wednesday, and it's always I think it's a stadium that is always sort of tinged with a bit of sadness as well because what happened there, and I think it's just a really historic stadium that I've always wanted to do at some point. I thought I was going to do it in 2016, Vorney, and then Jack Grimmer scored that brilliant last-minute goal, which we actually beat Wednesday in the cup.
Yeah,
and drew quite a big team in the next round. Dan, do you remember that one?
I do. Yeah. That was the. It was because of that game that Marcus Rashford got his chance for United. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Do you remember the striker who got injured?
Will Keane. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still waiting for the time team to turn up for that game, to be honest. Pathetic. We were absolutely pathetic.
It's good to hear your excitement, and like Vorney, for you to be saying that's like wow to hear, because I know how much you like to plan where you're going. So it is. It's nice to hear those two answers. Now, for people that are watching, we're going to be doing a couple of new things this season. As I say, we're always learning each episode. Obviously we've had a bit of time off. It's been so good to share some time with you tonight and have some comments. Thank you so much for getting those comments in. We were expecting to just be talking to ourselves, to be fair. It's just been such a long time, but thank you so much as always for coming and showing support. But this season, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a preview show with us all in the same room. It's bizarre. We're actually going to be in the same room as each other and doing a preview. It's going to be incredible. I can't actually wait for that. So we're going to be previewing, possibly dropping that on a Thursday or a Friday, just so you know what we're going to be doing for the week, getting your questions in and ready. And also the new one this year is going to be, we've got Where's Wally? It's going to be Where's Vorney? Because Vorney is not always going to be able to make the shows, because he does go everywhere. So we're going to be having a bit of fun with that, seeing where he's off to and spotting where we can. But we are all, I think I speak for all three of us, really excited for this year, excited for what we've got coming. Coiney's come up with a cracking idea, which I can't wait to bring to the table. We're just in the last bit.
It's the first time for everything, Dan.
Yeah, there is. Quite right. You were speaking to my wife, weren't you? But no, so we've got plenty of ideas coming this year. Obviously, as always, and I will show them a bit of love. We haven't mentioned them tonight, but the sponsors, we are always sponsored by Kaito Apparel. They do fantastic work for all your t-shirt design. I'll put some stuff in the link below about that. And also the return, I was meant to do it yesterday, but I had my leaving due from work on Friday, and then yesterday I went and had a couple more beers. But Tales of a Groundhopper will be back, and we have got an absolutely fantastic episode coming from one of the Lost Boyos. I can't wait to drop that for you. That will either be tomorrow or Tuesday when we get that. But yeah, we just want to thank you all so much for sticking by us. We've got plenty more things to do. Coiney, yourself, you've had quite an interesting summer yourself. You've made the step now. You've gone from managing in Sunday League to obviously we won't name the club for obvious reasons, but you've gone into academy football, mate, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it's safeguarding the reason that we can't give out too much information. So, but it's going really well so far, and always sad to leave a club, and unfortunately, no one actually, despite me offering the opportunity to someone, no one actually took on the club. So that club is no more, unfortunately. But a new challenge, and it's going well so far. Really, really enjoying it.
I tell you, mate, we'll be interviewing you soon. We'll be interviewing you when you're bloody managing a club. I tell you, me and Vorney saying this week we've got Mr. Coin on the show.
I don't know about that, mate.
What about you, Vorney?
Some complimentaries.
What about you, Vorney? What's happening your way? Are you excited for the new season? Plenty of stuff that you want to be doing there?
Well, absolutely. Like I said, it's kind of I mean, like you said before, not looking sort of too far ahead, but I think Corney's just whet the appetite there with Sheffield Wednesday. This is from a Shrewsbury angle. We don't want to talk about Shrewsbury all night, do we? But we've got Sheffield Wednesday. I think that's in September. Well, we could, couldn't we? But then that's
and it becomes a Shrewsbury Town show.
Yeah,
but, there's already one out there. I don't want to step on their toes.
But, Wimbledon is a new
fantastic as well. That podcast.
Two things, for there, a new ground and everything. And it's always a good away day down in London. And actually, kind of League One this season, there's some really good teams in there. Charlton's disappointed that Portsmouth actually is going to be a Tuesday night for us, because I always enjoy Portsmouth, but you've still got your Sunderlands in there, your Ipswich is in there, so Sheffield Wednesday come down.
There's a few good ones on a Tuesday night, isn't there, which is a bit
it's a bit disappointing. In fact, actually, what I did look, I looked at the fixture list. It's kind of, I wouldn't mind going there. Wouldn't mind. Actually, I haven't been there for a bit. Like Morecambe, we haven't been there. Seaside game, in August. Hopefully the sun will be out. We'll have a great day up there. And all of a sudden, you start to think, the ground hopping is going to be put to one side, really, because they're going to be doing quite a few Shrewsbury games. And it's going to be great next Saturday to see all the guys back together. So we'll go for a few beers in the pub beforehand. Some of these guys, okay, I've seen them, but we haven't seen them as a collective like that. So
it's good to hear. Dale Skip says he's looking forward to watching Salop play Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough next month, but really want to go over to Belfast and visit the magnificent old ground that is the Oval, home of Glentoran FC. That's like
get there.
That's like Graceland, isn't it?
Yeah, I would happily do that again. I'd happily do that again. Yeah, it's that good. Is
that potentially a Sunday social on tour, perhaps?
Well, let's just jump on a plane and go. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story, a very, very quick funny story about that, actually, to be quite honest. I flew over there. It was a day trip. I flew over to Belfast for a day, but I couldn't fly in and out of one airport. So I caught the first train out of Shrewsbury to Birmingham. I flew from Flight B from Birmingham to Belfast City Airport. And flew back after the game back to Manchester and then caught a train back from Manchester. And basically, where Glentoran's ground is, it's probably about a mile from the airport, from George Best Airport. So it's the only game I've ever been to where I've actually walked back to the airport afterwards rather than walking back to a railway station. Anyway, flew back. So anyway, I got back into Manchester, caught the train back, and I was back in Shrewsbury by about 10 o'clock. And I walked into Sloping for a quick beer, and a couple of guys in there were going, where have you been today? Then I said, Glentoran. And they said, that's Belfast. It was like, no, you haven't. I was like, I have. And they were like, anything is possible with this bloke. And I said, I have. And they went, no, you haven't. And I pulled my program out, and they went, he has.
Lee Vaughan. Anything is possible.
I don't know how much time we've got left, by the way, guys. I was just going to say, would it be worth now, since this is our first show of the season, just to do some quick predictions? So who you think's going to win the Premier down to the Conference or the National League, Scottish and Welsh?
You got 3.5 minutes. Go.
Well, it was a question to you first, mate.
Easy, mate. We've always got extra time, so crack on.
There is. Well, is it on me then? Shall I take it?
I'll go Premier League.
I've put myself in the hole here, haven't I? Okay.
Premier League, I'll go for Halifax Town, Premier League. What are you laughing at?
Oh, my God, Wardy.
I haven't got the angle as football arc, have I?
Who are you going with? Who are you going with for the Prem? We'll go with Prem. Vaughan.
Man City.
Coiney.
Liverpool.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Cordy had to dash off there. I think it's. Do you know what? I'll say. I think City. I think especially with the signings they look like they're going to make. I think they'll be too hot to trot. Championship.
Fulham.
Bournemouth. For me, Bournemouth. Scotty Parker. I really rate him as a manager.
This is a tough one. It could be any, couldn't it? It could be any. I was thinking Bournemouth as well. I'm going to stick with it. Bournemouth.
Robin Hartley says Reading. Ooh, not sure about that one. Reading,
good, decent side, Reading.
Right, I'll ask the question, but don't be getting silly here. League One.
Sunderland.
Oh, Sunderland.
I think they might do it this season.
I hate to say this because I'm still bitter over the whole Paul Hurst tapping up and that, but Ipswich.
Doug says QPR for the championship. Toughest league in the world, by the way, the championship in my eyes. Robin Hartley says Wigan. I'm actually going to stick with Robin on that. I think Wigan. I think Wigan have got a chance this season. Excuse me, League Two.
Bradford City.
I've had Bristol Rovers in my head, but I think with Barton being there, it's just so unpredictable, isn't it? I think Bradford's a really good shout because Adams wouldn't have jumped from Morecambe to Bradford without a really good reason to do so. And club. Just to be different, I am going to go with Bristol Rovers.
I'm going to say I'm actually.
It's unpredictable. Anything could happen.
I'm going Bradford. I completely agree with Vorney. I just think that the move that Adams made. I think they're a big club, aren't they? Bradford, big club,
massive,
big club.
I quite enjoy going to Bradford though. I don't know about you, Vorney, but it's always an away day that I look forward to.
Yeah, it's a proper away day, and the lads up there. I know quite a few Bradford fans as well. Yeah. So they're good
nice
lads.
Well, they're welcoming, aren't they? They're really welcoming up there.
They're a really good bunch.
Okay, what about the conference? Well, it's not like it's National League, but conference. I would say conference.
Notts County,
Wrexham,
definitely. I mean, Christ, that signing of, was it Mullin?
Paul Mullin. Yeah, there's a few others as well that they've brought in, but unless it just all implodes and the Ryan Reynolds thing just backfires and they're not putting the money in what they said they are. It looks genuine at the moment, though, doesn't it?
Robin Hartley says anyone but Wrexham. We'll go with the Welsh. We'll go with the Welsh Prem. I haven't got I don't know. 2 teams.
Maybe
for me,
Connor's Key. I think again.
New Saints for me.
You think they'll do it this year again?
Yes. Yeah, I think their results in Europe have been fantastic. We've not even mentioned those, have we? But TNS, the New Saints really flying the flag for Wales at the moment, which is good because the country needs to get its coefficient up because I think Wales is losing a European spot next season. So to get that back in a couple of years' time, they need to get the coefficient up. So keep going, TNS. Everyone's behind you for the next few weeks at least. But I hope.
Got a difficult game next round, haven't they? In that they got Pilsen.
Pilsen. I'm going with TNS.
What about the Scottish Prem?
Rangers.
It's got to be on it. I think Celtic are on the.
Sorry, Coyne. Well, bad defeat for Celtic yesterday. I mean, the Hearts coming up, at the Championship last season.
It was, but like I said on Shrewsbury, there's 30 days to go in this transfer window. Just give this guy time. Give Postecoglou a bit of time. Just give him a bit of time to get his players in. If he's supported by the board, give him a bit of time to get his players in and get embedded in, and then we'll see what happens. Because by the way, Rangers aren't actually that good.
Well, they were probably the best of a bad bunch last season, weren't they? That was under. If somebody had actually put them under the pump a bit, then maybe. But having said that,
if Celtic had signed a goalkeeper instead of Vasilius Barkas, who just for some reason he's allergic to making saves, then you never know. Well, it wasn't just him, was it? The whole squad was pathetic.
That's what I was going to say. Is Joe Hart going there?
I've heard Joe Hart's going there.
That's the rumour. Yeah, that's the rumour. And I think it would be fantastic for both parties.
Yeah,
I really do. I think he needs to reinvigorate his career, doesn't he? And if he goes up to Scotland, has a couple of good years, he could well do a Fraser Forster and then come back down south.
We'll see. Well, there we go, guys. That is officially. The referee added 3 minutes. Bloody hell, I haven't even been drinking tonight. 3 minutes on for additional time there. Really enjoyed that, lads. Do you know what? That was absolutely spot on. Coming back, we purposely didn't have a schedule tonight. We just decided we were going to just wing it and really enjoyed it. A couple more. There's one more quick question. I'll allow it because it's Doug. Would Joe Hart improve Celtic as Barkas and Bain are average at best? Well, you're talking to three Shrewsbury boys here, Doug, where he's from. So I think the answer would be yes. Am I right?
I mean, I talk as an outsider looking in on this, but I look at where Celtic's problems lay last year, and a goalkeeper was certainly one of those problems. So a new goalkeeper is an absolute must.
I'll take it as a yes.
I think Joe Hart would improve a lot of teams that he'd go into. Bain's average at best. Absolutely agree. I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper. I don't think he's just don't think he's a top of the SPFL goalkeeper. As for Barkas, wow, you could. I'd be quite confident if you stuck me in goal at Celtic Park that I'd make more saves than him. And I have 2 breaks on my right hand, 2 broken fingers. So
we'll take that as a no then. So no, thanks very much, guys.
I think you say you got no brakes in your car then. What?
That's my car. That's my bloody car. It's the Mondeo. Robin Hartley says, "Cheers, lads. Good to have you back. See you Saturday, Paul." And on that note, guys, note, I think we will say goodbye. I'm just going to turn that comment off before it ruins the video. But all that's left to say, guys, is stick with us. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Hit the subscribe button. Stick with us for next week. That's a goodbye from me, from Coyne, and from Vorney. And do you know what? It's been so long since I've said this, but I'm going to say it. Be thinkers, not stinkers. Sayonara. Au revoir.